Hello all, welcome back for another quick learning. Today we're going back to CodeSignal to work on the SQL database coding exercises. If you'd like to go to the first video in this series, go ahead and check the description box below and there will be a link if you wish. Otherwise I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'm going to go to the arcade. I'm going to go to databases. So we're still on this section on selecting what to select, and then we are on storage optimization here. So you notice that your server is running out of free 8 hard disk drive space. You investigated and discovered that most of the space is taken up by the worker's info table, which has the following structures. So there's an ID of the worker, the name of the worker, their date of birth, and salary. One strange thing about this table is that a lot of its rows contain null values in some of the columns except for the ID, which always contains a non-null value. After thinking about this problem, you've decided to change the way you store data in workers' info. Instead of keeping the cells with null values in the table, you will only store ID, column name, and value columns. Column name will contain the name of the column that contains a non-null value for each ID value pair there. Will be the value from this row converted to a string. For dates, use the format the full year 4 digits, then 2 for month and 2 for day. Given the worker's info table, compose a results table that has the following 3 columns: ID, column name, and value, that contain the worker's IDs, column names, and the stringified values in the format described above. The table should be sorted in ascending order by ID. Rows with the same ID should be sorted by column names in the following order: name, date of birth, and then salary. Okay. For the following table, workers info, where empty cells stand for a null value. Okay, so you can see, let's pull this out a little bit here. So you've got an ID column for the worker, their name. Sometimes there's a date of birth, sometimes there's not, sometimes there's not even a name, and then sometimes there's a salary and sometimes there's not. So what they want to do is they want to reformat it so that, for instance, this first row here, we're going to actually separate that into 3 rows. A name column here, we'll put the value Justin Penrose, and then we'll put a row for date of birth, and we'll put this date of birth here, and a row for salary, which we'll put in the value column there. And then for 3, because only the name is filled in, we're only going to have 1 row, which is going to be name, and then the name there, and so on. So how can we do this? So this is how I did it. So first of all, we've got, so we're just selecting ID, column name, and value of this underlying subquery. So let's go through this subquery. In the subquery, I've just extracted, so I've done select ID, and then I just put name for this column name, just a string, and then for value I put the name here. So it's basically pulling these 2 pieces of information and then adding another column with name in it from the workers table, and this is only for rows where the name is not null. So it's not going to do this row, it's not going to do this row, it's not going to do this row. And then I'm doing a union statement to do that with date of birth, very similar, taking the ID, and then I'm putting in the string date of birth for this column name section, and then date of birth will be the value, and I'm only taking those rows where the date of birth is not null. And the last section, I'm doing the same thing for salary. Again, only taking the ones where salary is not null, putting in the salary string for that column name column. So that is the subquery, and then I take the ID, column name, and value from that subquery. And then the order by, first, so they wanted to order it, they wanted to order it first by the IDs. The table then should be sorted by ascending order by IDs. Rows with the same ID should be sorted by column names in the following order: name, date of birth, and then salary. So if I use this field and I insert the column name that I specified in this subquery here, and then I just tell it I want us to do it in name, date of birth, salary order. Another way you could have done it is you could have put in another thing like one sort order, and then put in like two sort order, etc., and then sort it on that column, and then you'd have the sort order there, but this field thing comes in handy as well if you are not basically sorting in alphabetical order above the field name. Alright, so let's run this. You can see that is correct. So I hope you guys are able to follow along with this. It's relatively simple. It's just kind of long and tedious, just doing 3 separate chunks of select queries, putting them together with the unions into a subquery, and then pulling out that and ordering them by the column name, specifically name, date of birth, and salary using the field function. Alright, hope you guys join me for future videos. Thank you very much.